Guys, when someone writes this on your car, you know it's time for a wash. So let's get started. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Chemical Guys Detail Garage. Today we have something pretty exciting. Well, maybe not so much the car, but the filth that's on it. So we have a Subaru Crosstrek, and if you guys come up close, you can see that this thing is absolutely covered in dust, grime, and it has a bunch of stuff all over the place. Now, I mean, check out these wheels, you guys. You know, just from looking at the wheels, you guys can see the level of dirt that's on here. Those wheels, they're supposed to be a nice black finish. Right now, they're looking a little bit brown right now, so we want to make sure to give that a nice deep clean. And another thing right here is someone, I don't know who did this, but someone, you know, committed this crime of writing "wash me" on the car, which, if you guys don't already know, that's a huge no-no. You know, you never do that, because all that dirt and dust that you pretty much wipe with your finger, you're scratching up your paint. So I mean, if you guys just do a full, just kind of lap around the car, you'll see that this thing has a lot of contaminants all over the place. I mean, it even has it back here. It has another wash me. You know, if one wasn't enough, you know that two is more than enough to tell you that your car needs a wash. You have this ugly little bird poop right here. It looks really nasty. That one actually looks pretty fresh, just because I know he just wiped it with his wipers maybe this morning. But as you guys can see, we definitely have a lot to work with here. And I mean, kind of the point of today's video is not so much showing you guys how to wash a car, because you guys have seen us do that a million times before, but just kind of go a little bit more in depth as to why we do the techniques that we do in order to have a safe wash experience. Because as you can imagine, this thing is absolutely covered in dirt and grime. So, you know, if you just grab a wash mitt and just go like that, you're gonna scratch your ride up really bad. So today we're gonna show you guys our tips and tricks on how to tackle heavy dirt and grime on the exterior of your car. All right, guys, so first things first, we're gonna start off with the wheels. Now, I know you guys may be looking at the wheels and may say, hey, you know, a lot of that stuff is just gonna rinse right off. That's completely true. However, you're not gonna get rid of the heavy grime that's embedded on the wheel just by rinsing it off and spraying a wheel cleaner on and, you know, rinsing it off that way. You know, whenever you have these wheels, they're very caked with dirt and grime, especially with these tires. I'll go ahead and start off the process by rinsing them down, and you'll see that a lot of the stuff ends up kind of, you know, just knocking right off. All right, guys, so just like that, we rinsed it off, and it does look much better. However, you'll still see that there's a lot of dirt and grime, especially stuck within the actual texture of the tire. So if I start going like this with my finger, you'll start seeing a lot of runoff. You'll actually see a lot of that dust and dirt just kind of knock right off with the water, which is great. However, you see also the wheels as well. They're also pretty dirty, so we want to make sure to give them a nice deep clean. So in order to start off this process, I'm going to start off with cleaning the tire. Now, the tire is one of my favorite parts to clean, because you can actually see like a really big difference as far as clean, especially when we use an all-purpose cleaner such as All Clean. Now, All Clean is great because all you have to do is simply spray a nice little coat of product onto your tires, and right away you'll start seeing that it starts breaking down all the dirt and grime that's sitting on there. Now, the next product that I'm going to grab is my Nifty bristle brush here. Now, this brush right here in particular, we usually recommend for upholstery cleaning. However, I like it because it has a stiff bristle brush, and as you guys can see, it fits nicely just for the tire. We also have the stiffy one, the blue one, if you have more off-road tires, like thicker tires. In this case, since they're thinner, I'm going to use a thinner brush. So I'm going to get my cleaner, spray directly onto my brush as well for some added cleaning power, and I'm going to start agitating the tire. And you guys will see right away that a lot of that dirt and grime just kind of ends up knocking right off. And we're also knocking off the grime that's stuck in the actual texture of the tire. So you guys can see it has a lot of little grooves, has some lettering, has some cool little designs here and there. So we want to make sure that we get the ultimate clean. So you do that just by simply spraying an all-purpose cleaner such as All Clean onto your tires and scrubbing it down with a Nifty bristle brush. Now, not only is this cleaning it, but this is also getting it ready so that whenever we apply a dressing, the dressing is going to adhere more properly to the tire. And it doesn't take that long. You guys saw it just took me about 20 to 30 seconds, and all I'm going to do now is just rinse it right off. And you see all the runoff right there from the product and the grime. You know, it does an amazing job at pretty much exfoliating the surface of your tires. Then in that way, whenever you're done detailing and you want to go ahead and apply your favorite tire shine, it sticks and it lasts as long as possible because it has the best bond possible. All right, so I'm not gonna go too crazy into like, you know, rinsing it down just because we're still gonna end up cleaning more of it. But I'm gonna take this out and now I'm gonna use my Diablo Wheel Gel. Now, one thing I do wanna just kind of reiterate, we have Diablo Wheel Gel available in 2 versions. So you may see it with a spout cap. You'll maybe see your Diablo Wheel Gel. Now the gel is actually concentrated, so you can dilute it in a separate sprayer bottle up to a 3-to-1 ratio. And if you're your Diablo is already ready to use, if it has a sprayer top already, then it's good to go. And one of the great things about Diablo is that you don't need much at all because it's gel. So just like a shampoo foams up, this gel foams up as well. So just with a little bit of product, you'll get some intense cleaning action. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray directly onto the surface of my wheel here. And I'm gonna try to coat it very nicely because the gel actually helps you uplift any kind of loose dirt, debris, brake dust that's sitting on the surface. And I'm also gonna spray inside the barrel as well, just so that we get the best, safest clean possible. And if you guys like this foaming action, this is actually our Ducky Sprayer Foam Trigger, which you can pick up on our website. Works out amazing with Diablo Wheel Gel to activate your suds and get you the best wheel clean. Before I get my brushes, I'm actually gonna pour some into here as well. So I'm gonna grab my Diablo Wheel Gel and I'm gonna pour some into my bucket. Then that way my brushes get primed up and they get the foam action. And then I'm also gonna activate it with my pressure washer here. I'm not gonna turn it on just because I don't really need that intense power. It foams up just with a little bit of pressure. So just like that, you'll start seeing that you get the nice foaming action. And just with a little bit of product, you'll get a nice deep clean. Now the first brush that I'm gonna grab right here is gonna be our Red Rocket wheel brush. Now I like this brush because it's flexible and you can actually use it to get deep into these wheels. So you can go ahead and clean up the barrel. You can start from the top and work your way around and work your way down. So this allows you to clean the barrel, so that you have the ultimate wheel cleaning experience. You know, one of the most satisfying things is, you know, being able to clean this barrel and having the inside of the wheel clean as well, and not just the face of it. And one thing I just did right now was actually went back to my suds bucket just to grab a little bit more suds and knock off any kind of loose abrasives that maybe is lingering on my brush. And just like that, I'm gonna take out my Red Rocket wheel brush and now I'm gonna clean the surface of the wheel. So I'm gonna spray a little bit more product just to have the best cleaning action. I'm gonna grab my flag tip brush here. Now the flag tip brush is great because it's flexible and you can actually use it to get into all these little areas very nicely. And it's actually very soft as well. So even with the most sensitive wheel finishes, you can achieve a nice cleaning without risking any kind of scratching or swirling with an aggressive brush. So this works out exceptionally well so that you guys can get that nice wheel clean without having to worry about scratching up the finish of your wheels. Now the next brush that I'm gonna grab right now is my boar's hair brush. And this is just kind of like the final brush that I use. And I like to spray it with some more cleaner into the bristles of the brush, just so that I can get that nice deep clean on these lug nut areas as well. And the hard to reach areas such as, you know, the emblem, the lug nuts, your valve stem. You know, if you have some nice brake calipers, you can actually get in there as well. Get a nice little deep clean going on so that you also clean those as well. Then pretty much once you're done, you can turn on your pressure washer, rinse it all off. In this case, I'm just gonna rinse it off using the snubby. I'm not gonna turn on the pressure washer just because I am gonna still end up washing the car. So I don't really find it necessarily too big of a deal, just because we're still gonna foam the car, so the wheel's still gonna get foamed up. We just wanna make sure that we knock off the dirt and grime so that we can tell that all the dirt and grime is completely off, and then we can actually move on to the next step in the process, which is washing the vehicle. So what I'm gonna do now is actually proceed with cleaning the rest of the wheels, because as you guys can see, all the rest of the wheels are pretty dirty as well. So we wanna make sure that we give all the wheels the proper attention that they need. So we're gonna wrap up the wheels and then we'll be back with you guys to wash the body of the vehicle. Alrighty guys, so now that we're done with the wheels, it's time to proceed with washing the Subaru. So right here, right in front of me, I have a little assortment of products that we're gonna be using today. First and foremost is gonna be our 2-bucket method. Now we have our 2 dirt traps, which we're gonna be using to make sure that our wash water is filtered so that we're not rubbing any kind of abrasive particles back to the paint, scratching it all up. Now I do have my Big Mouth Max Release Foam Cannon right here. Now I am going to be using it with some Mr. Pink soap. The reason that I'm using Mr. Pink is because Mr. Pink is an excellent soap that creates tons of, you know, thick suds. So that's one of the main things that I'm looking for, especially when working on a vehicle like this, because I want to make sure that I have a thick suds, which means that it's going to emulsify a lot of that dirt and debris that's sitting on the surface, which means that it's going to give me a safer wash experience. So Mr. Pink is great for sudsing. I'm going to apply about 2 ounces. 1, 2, close that up. And then I'm gonna grab my nozzle here, set that in there, twist it on, and then our foam cannon is prepped and ready to go. Before we get into the foaming process, should I say, we want to make sure that we give the vehicle a pre-rinse, because as you guys can see, it has a lot of dust and debris that we want to make sure to knock off. So I'm going to turn on the pressure washer right now to give the vehicle a pre-rinse and to knock off as much dirt and debris before we get into the foaming process. Alright guys, so I just finished rinsing off the car. Now the first thing I'm going to do prior to foaming is I'm actually going to be doing something different. Now right here I do have some bug and tar diluted to a 6:1 ratio. Now bug and tar is great because it's going to break down a lot of the dead bugs and guts that's sitting on the surface of a vehicle along with any kind of tar. So I did notice that on this vehicle you do have some bugs that are a little bit kind of stuck on here, so we want to make sure that we take care of these. So I have my bug and tar remover, and this is a great product to have whenever you have like heavy buildup of bugs. Now the way I'm going to be using it is I'm actually going to be spraying it directly onto the surface right here. So the great thing about this is that it's a strong cleaner and it's also very slick as well. So you can spray it directly onto any areas that have the bugs. Now the reason I'm spraying it right here right now, it's kind of pre-saturated and kind of get it going on in terms of the process of breaking down the bugs on there. Now the reason I did that in the first place is because I'm going to foam up the car right now. So as that's kind of dwelling, I'm also going to be foaming up the car. As that's dwelling, it's breaking down any kind of bugs and tar that's sitting on there. So with that being said, I'm going to grab my big mouth max release foam cannon, get my pressure washer wherever it's at right now, and we're going to get foaming. All right guys, so now that we have our ride all foamed up, all it's time to do is grab some suds and wipe it down. Now, one thing I do kind of want to point out is, we get a lot of people asking, what's the point of the foaming process? Is it just to foam it on and rinse it off and you're done? Well, yes and no. Now, whenever you use the foaming process, what this is really doing is pretty much emulsifying the dirt and debris from the surface of your vehicle so that you're not grinding the dirt back into your paint. Now, it's not just to kind of foam it up, rinse it, and get on with your life. The foam just kind of helps you kind of exfoliate the dirt and grime so that you have a much safer wash experience, because the last thing that you want to do is just go raw with no lubrication and pretty much just start wiping down the surface of your vehicle when you have a lot of dust, debris, little twigs and stuff right there left behind. So the foaming process is what I would say is kind of a crucial part in washing, because you want to make sure that you have a safe wash experience. You don't want to be, scratching up your paint while you're washing your car. That's the last thing that you want to be doing. Now, once you cover an area, I was just working in straight motions, come back over here to your first bucket. Now, the other bucket, I had some soap in there, so I put some Mr. Pink, I activated my suds. What I'm doing now is I'm pretty much just cleaning out my wash mitt. You do want to clean it out every so, panels, just because you want to make sure that there's no dirt, contaminants that's on your wash mitt that could potentially be scratching up your paint. So right here, I'm coming back to my rinse bucket. I did get a little bit of soap in there, not to worry, it's mainly water. So the main reason for it is pretty much just to kind of scrub against the surface of the dirt trap. Now, if you do use both sides of your wash mitt, make sure that you mimic this same process on both sides. So wipe down the wash mitt, and then once you're done, get it out, wring it out, and the water that's on there is going to help you kind of pull off any remaining contaminants that's sitting on your wash mitt. And then you can pretty much grab some more suds and keep on going. But right now, before I do that, I do want to kind of hop on over to something else. Now, you may have seen this little nifty thing sitting right here. Now, this right here is a wheel wedge. Now, I know you may be asking, why do you have something called a wheel wedge when you just finished cleaning the wheels? Well, this thing is great because it has two sides, so it kind of fits like a glove. On one side, you have this microfiber side, which you can use to pretty much put your hand on the other side. And then you can apply products to your wheels with ease so that you're not jamming up your fingers, and this actually makes it very convenient to apply. However, on the opposite side, you have this mesh kind of filter. Now, this mesh actually helps you kind of agitate any kind of bugs on the surface of your front end. So what I'm going to do now is put my hand into the opposite side with the microfiber so that I can utilize this mesh side, grab some suds, and then if you want, you can actually grab some more of your bug and tar remover, spray the front end just a little bit more, and pretty much continue with scrubbing down this area. Now, as you guys can see, there are some bugs right here in this area that didn't come off with the rinse, but just check this out. Just with some bug and tar remover and the wheel wedge, it's gonna knock these things all out. and it's gonna make it easy for us to pretty much knock off any kind of heavy buildup of bugs that's on our front end. So for all you guys out there that like going on long road trips, or maybe you're a trucker and you wanna go ahead and make your life easier as far as cleaning off these bugs, this is a huge lifesaver. So it makes it super easy, super convenient, and super safe, so that you're not there, aggressively kind of agitating them off and potentially causing damage to your paint. So just like that, I don't really see anything else more. I'm done. So I'm just gonna pretty much put this back down, grab my wash mitt, continue washing the rest of the car, and we'll be back with you guys once we're ready for the rinse. All right guys, so now that we are done washing the Subaru, it's time to dry it up. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to something. This vehicle does have a protective coating, which means that a lot of this water is gonna be pretty much beading right off. Now you guys can check it out on the hood right here. The hood is completely beading all the water that's left behind after the rinse. I mean, you can check it out right there. It does not want to stick to the surface, which means that whenever you have a super hydrophobic protection on your vehicle, it's going to make the drying process much easier, along with, washing it in general. Now, I wasn't really struggling too hard to wash it up as far as like the contaminants and stuff that stick to the paint, just because this is a newer vehicle that was already treated. Now, check it out. I'm going to use my ProBlow right now to dry it up in conjunction with my Waffle Weave drying towel. But I just want you guys to see how easy and how effectively you can dry your car with the blower when you have a ceramic coating on your vehicle. So check this out. All right guys, and just like that, 10-20 seconds later, we have a completely dry hood, and you guys saw how easy it was. I didn't even have to use my drying towel. It's completely dry. You do have some little specks here and there, but I mean, for the most part, it's completely dry, and if I were just spend a few more seconds on it, it would have been completely dry. So we're gonna wrap up the Subaru, dry it all up, and we'll be back with you guys to see the final results. All right guys, and that pretty much wraps it up. As you guys see, the car is nice and squeaky clean and dry as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a like. If there's a question that you guys may have that we did not answer in this video, make sure to also leave it in the comment section. We will make those videos that you guys want to see. And as always, make sure to subscribe so that you're always updated on our latest videos. My name is Joey. This is Chemical Guys Detail Garage. I'll see you guys next time.